We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you if I don't say the words.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith, and it is the fans forum. Gets a bit lively on a Monday night every now and then. I'm surprised to see Alan hasn't come on with a gag. I've been reading these comments on social media.
I'm saying nothing. I'm keeping calm tonight.
He's just come on to watch the show. But yeah, welcome to the fans forum, and thank the Lord, we're nearly at the end of the international break. Get tonight out the way, and then we'll focus again on Newcastle United. The good news coming out of St James's Park today, of course, is injuries seem to be clearing up. Isaac is going to be fit for this game at the weekend, as is Miguel Almiron. Bruno coming back from his suspension, and news out the Swiss squad as well. The Fabian Schär is also going to be fit. Probably going to be a game too early for Longstaff, but you never know. Eddie Howe says these things and then the polar opposite happens. So maybe Longstaff back as well. And it'll look a lot brighter at the weekend. But transfer news keeps dominating the headlines and potential ones. And I wanted to start tonight with this fella, Hugo Ekitike. PSG at the moment can't get a game. And if you remember, he was the guy who turned Newcastle United down. He had his reasons. He wanted to go to PSG. I mean, I think most people would certainly admit that PSG have had a degree more success than Newcastle in recent years. But Newcastle potentially looking at a loan deal for Ekitike in January. Would he be the answer to the striking problem? I think when we look at the situation in January, we've got to be very mindful of financial fair play. Centre forwards are often hard to get in at any time, whether it's the summer or the winter window. Is this a possible solution short term to the problem that we have up front? Because we need another striker. So Darren, it was obviously a question too much for Barry. So he's given you the option of going first. And I guess the big problem is going back, isn't it? It's going back over to a player that turned us down once. He had his reasons, though. Would you give him a second chance, Darren? Would you like to see him come to Newcastle?
The honest opinion, he turned down the third place, chose money or a bigger club to go somewhere else. I'll give him a chance. You've got to. He's a young lad, so he's probably been advised wrong of his agent, possibly, to go to PSG and sit on the bench. So, yeah, we need a forward. We can't spend massive money, can't we, in January? So a loan option is a fantastic opportunity for Newcastle to get him. And Callum Wilson's always got his hamstrings again. But like Lucky Barnes, they keep on going.
G-strings.
So we're gonna. But if in doubt, we definitely need another forward, because you can't just rely on Isak and Wilson all the way through our tough fixtures. Do you know what I mean? So I get him a loan, see what he can do. If he has a good loan, do you buy him at the end of next season? There's a loan option to buy him, or obligation to buy him. We don't know. I don't think it'll be a good. give the lad a young second chance. It's in this day and age, he's been advised. He could have been advised of his agent wrong to go to PSG in the first place. So, yeah, give a chance.
Okay, interesting. What about you? What's your thoughts on this one, Ian?
I agree with Sneezy. I don't know whether anyone else caught this sneeze at the start of the show. That was class. Yeah, you're certainly not a dwarf anyway, that's for certain. I don't know whether I can say that, actually.
You can.
Moving on. Yeah, I would definitely give him a chance. I know there's a lot of people who don't want to give him the chance because he turned us down and he messes around in a January window, then in the summer window. But the January window, I think it was well documented. It wasn't him actually; it was his agent who he then sacked and got rid of. Summer window, he said he wanted to come, and then PSG came into him. And let's be honest, like, you know, as a French kid, I don't think it was about money, Daz. I don't think they'd have offered him any more money. Actually, I think it was about the opportunity to play with Mbappe and, you know,
Neymar, Messi,
and, you know, like everybody who was playing there at the time. You can't. It's, you know, you can't really hold it against the lad if he wanted to chance his arm. It hasn't worked out. He's still got the talent that he had before. Like, we probably all had a look at him. I certainly had a look at him when he was looking like he was going to come to us. He looks quality. He's never had a chance there, but he'll certainly get a chance with us. And again, as we say all the time, when you look at how Eddie Howe brings on these players that have got the raw talent, and he polishes. It's not polishing a turd. He's polishing. You know, he's polishing like a rough diamond into a diamond there, because he looks like he's got everything that we need. He's a big, strong lad. He's tall. I think he's about 6'2", and he's fast and he can finish. He's just never had a chance there. So yeah, why not give him a chance? And if it doesn't work out, if we get him on a loan with an agreement to buy rather than an obligation, then if it doesn't work out, we send him back. But I actually think it will work out, and I think, you know, I've said this before about him when we talked about him. I think the last time, whether we talked about it or someone else, I can't remember. But I've said before, you know, I didn't want Gordon because of what had happened when he was an Everton player with trips. I thought he was a bit of a plonker, and you know, and look at Gordon now. You know, his song gets sung more than any song. You know, more than any other player when he's playing for us. And he's this season, he's even though, yeah, it's tailed off a bit because he's played out of position and everything, but he's been the best player for me still this season. And he's come on so much. So I see Ekitike in the same in the same window as him. Get him in. Yeah, he might not be amazing straight away, but you know, I see something in him that we can get a world-class player out of him. So yes, is the answer in short.
Yes. Okay, 2 positives so far. George, are you going to continue the trend?
Yes, on the basis that we trust the process. If there's something in that lad that Howe and the rest of the scouting team think is so important that they've chased him for thick end of 2 years, he's got to have something. And yes, I've seen, like Ian says, I've seen bits of him on TV, and he does look sharp. My only worry is game time. He's hardly played at PSG, even as a substitute, and the game time that would worry me. But I go back to where I started. If Howe and the rest of the scouting team think that there's enough in that lad for him to do a job for us, why not? And if it is pro tem, well, pro tem it is. It doesn't really matter as long as he does what we want him to do. That's all we need. So, yeah, the short answer is yes. I would give him a go on the basis that if he fits what we need at the moment, then give the lad a chance, and we get something out of it as well. And at the end of the year, if he just goes back, well, he just goes back. It's not a lot to lose other than the loan fee.
No, definitely not. And he gives us something different, I think. It would definitely be something different. Okay, Alan, thoughts on Ekitike if it's just a loan deal?
Full house, actually. Because he reminds me a bit like a Luke Remy situation. Lads, I don't know if you remember him coming on.
Yeah, fantastic player.
Yeah.
One of my favourite loans ever. In
And
my time.
he's got something to prove, Steve, as well, because he has been left out and left in the dark. And dare I say it, George, the positives is he saw we beat Newcastle beat PSG, and he couldn't help be impressed with that. Sure, that's got to help him to see.
Well, and the atmosphere as well, you know.
Yeah. So I go along with everything everybody said. You know, I mean, the lad's been badly advised in our instance, but
and he's a kid as well, Alan, isn't he? He's just a kid. He's only just 21, I think, if I remember rightly. He's a young lad. Your head's going to get turned by PSG if you're French.
Spot on, Ian. I mean, let's face it. If you're tempted with like Newcastle United, and somebody says, "Oh, you're going to Barcelona," it's very hard to refuse. But and if you're from Spain, but in this case, France. So I go along with everybody because. Like Darren says, Wilson's finish for me is after this season, lads. He's got to be our third main aim striker. He's great. I love the guy, but he keeps breaking down. So we need somebody in. And as the Everton situation shows with FFP, you can't just keep splashing shots. Simple as that. So it'll be a great acquisition if we get it.
Okay, Spenny, it could just be paper talk, but a lot of papers are talking about it, and he would fall into Newcastle's kind of remit for players as well. And they have been in for him before. We're seeing this with Newcastle as well, with other players where they've gone in for players, haven't been successful first time round, but have gone back. Botman springs to mind. But would you take Ekitike?
No, I wouldn't. No. We have the players who want to go to improve the team, and they want to improve our team. That's what they're looking at.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
I don't think he'll improve our team. I think the two strikers are better than what we've got now. We're buying players for strikers to go into that team, that first team. That's what we're buying players for. Maybe yes, to give him a loan, like you said. I agree with George what he said as well. That Eddie Howe and them have been looking at him for a while. And if he does sign, once he puts that black and white shirt on, I'll be for him. Don't get us wrong. But not now. No, I wouldn't have him.
There's nothing to say as well, Spenny. There's nothing to say as well, Spenny, that he doesn't come in on a loan and we don't get another striker because he plays up front, but he also plays out wide on the right as well. I said that about the loan. I don't mind if he comes on loan, gets that black and white stripes on. I'll support him as any other player. But for me, I want players where we're supposed to be going. Champions League football, Premier League, top of the Premier League. I don't want to put the time and effort into young ones to bring them up because Wilson's about knackered now. He's more injuries than A&E when he may. But like I said, I don't want him. No, I don't think. And the French players, as we know, are very touchy fucking people. And spit the dummy out just looking at them.
Fair comment.
For me, it's a no.
Fair comment, that.
All right, okay, there we go. That's why we have the fans forum. We're coming to the last comment tonight from Chippers, unless Barry comes back, who's protecting his dog from fireworks, which is very noble of him. Chippers, Ekitike.
No, I don't want him either. I've got too much doubts over him, to be honest. I've got too much questions that, for me, I don't know the answer to, and I don't think many people would. Like George touched on his game time. He's played one league game all season. So how long is it going to take him to get up to speed when he comes over? Yeah. It's going to take him at least 5 or 6, 7 or 8 games maybe to get up to match fitness. The way I see it as well is, what's his head like? Is his head, if PSG have said to him, listen, you haven't made it here, what's he going to be like when he comes over here? Is he going to feel sorry for himself? Is he going to knuckle down? That's not a French. I don't think many French players do that. I think a lot of them will just sulk. Like, I can see him being like not interested. I think he would just come over and say, if it's a 6-month loan, I'll just get the 6 months out the way with, and I'll be somewhere else next summer. I'll be back. PSG will probably take us back, and I'll just sit on the wage. I've got too much doubts for him.
PSG, is he, Chippers? If he comes to us and does nothing, he's not going to go back to PSG.
I'll give you a question. Can I give you a question?
Why has no other clubs gone in for him?
Yeah. I think this is a smoke screen as well. I think we might not be going for him. I think this could be all. You know,
Yep.
it could be a case of we're going for somebody else and just saying we'll ride with that rumour. But
good point.
I
Good point,
also,
Chippers. Good point.
I also get the worry is, if he comes in with the injuries we've had, there's every chance with the lack of game time he's had, he might get an injury within straight away. There's just some image of him going down the wing and he does his hamstring or something like that, and you don't want that. I want a player that's going to come in and hit the ground running in January.
Any player can pull a hamstring anytime.
Anybody can, but because of his lack of game time, that's what worries me. Is he needs to get Eddie Howe standard fitness.
That's the biggie for me.
It's just that's too much down.
It's one of them. It's one of them where it just boils down to if Eddie wants him in, we'll all go with it.
Mm-hmm. Thing is, when I look at a player, if he's not committed to go to Newcastle, I'm against it. You've got to be 100% committed to that team and that club for me when you're signing for that team.
Well, that's where I would start, Spenny, but that's why I came back to the trust of the process business.
Yeah.
If Howe and the scouts have been chasing for thick end of 2 years, they must like what they've seen, and that's that's
don't get us wrong, George. A young French lad moving countries. Tells you a story as well. Imagine you
certainly
go to a different country.
Certainly
Also, George, you remember like Botman. All the talk was Botman wanted to go to AC Milan. He was an AC Milan player. He goes to AC Milan. He considered AC Milan, and then he came to us. But like as soon as the talk in the papers was about going to AC Milan, a lot of fans turned and said, "Oh, well, if he don't want to come to us, then he don't want to come to us." He's come and all right, he's injured now, but he is for me one of the best centre backs in the Premier League, and he is committed.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So the truth is, we're all actually right in what we're saying. We don't know. The only way we'll find out is if Eddie actually wants him, and he comes in.
Just one point Spenny made. Spenny, I don't know if you know that West Ham and basically Crystal Palace were in for him, but negotiations broke down through his agent. Both of them broke down through his agent. So
you know yourself, Alan. When you're going to get a player, it's not always the agent's fault. It's the player as well.
It's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You made great points, Shippers, Benny. You've made great points against it.
All right. That's interesting, though. A lot of people in the chat, split over this one as well. Tom Dixon says, I fancy Emile Smith-Rowe over Ekitike. Again, I'm not sure Arsenal would be keen to let him go. He has started to get a little bit of game time now as well. Philip Shuttleworth, good evening, says, a cheap option for me would be Shanklin from Hearts. Would any of the panel take him on loan to buy? I don't know a great deal about him. Anybody? Nobody on the panel? No.
Scored a few goals, actually, Steve. Scored a few goals, actually. He scored for Scotland, I think, the other day, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He did. He's one of the better Scottish players that would be worth looking at. But the little I've seen of him, he's quite dangerous. He's quite dangerous.
Yeah.
Why do I always think of Wanga when I say Shanklin?
Yeah. SJP Dave, Mitch is joining as an international supporter online. Spenny, are you going to that on Wednesday?
Yes, I am going on Wednesday.
All right. Well, we'll find out from Spenny on Monday what it was all about, and we'll get a few. Maybe he's got a few exclusives of Mitch on Friday night, but that should be interesting. So the answer is yes, Dave. We have got a couple of people who've been invited. Needless to say, I put my application in. I put my application in and didn't get accepted again.
I didn't go on because Eddie wants my phone number.
All right.
They didn't want me. They said I swear too much.
Yeah, I can imagine. Mike Stewart, well, I think they'd want you in. So the bar made a decent profit on the night, mate. Everyone going there drinking orange and water. You'd be on the beer, no doubt about it. Mike Stewart says, question, with all the injuries, I know some were strange ones. Will it make Eddie reconsider the high press intensity style? No. Darren?
No, Eddie Howe believes I think Eddie Howe knows what he wants to play, and he's not going to change his game plan or his way we started. I think he's just been unlucky with the injuries, but play the way Eddie plays and see what happens and crack on, because there's no point changing with the way we play. I'm happy how we played. Pressing showed no respect. So press away for me. High intensity, high performance. Works all day.
Ian, I don't think Eddie Howe's going to change his style, is he?
He's not going to change his style, and I wouldn't want him to. The way we play, when we play at that high intensity, as you know, our slogan or whatever our saying is, you know, intensity is our identity. That's when we look the best, and that's when I love watching Newcastle play football now. You know, when you see us absolutely smashing teams with work ethic and effort and getting tackles in, and you know, when we're on form, when we've got players on the pitch who have actually got the legs to do it, which we'll see that'll be more and more and more as we get a bigger squad and a more talented squad. No offense to the peripheral players, you know, that's the way we want to play, and nobody likes playing against us when we're at our best. Honestly, I do believe we beat any team in the Premier League when we are at our best. Apart from maybe City, if City are at the best, then we struggle. But apart from that, you know, with the way that Eddie sets us up when we're all firing it's excellent. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Okay, George, you said no. You were quite vehemently saying that before we even came to you. So yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, the reason's fairly simple for me. If you analyse the injuries and look at the bad ones, like Botman and one or two others, they weren't created by high press. Some of them were flukes. Botman's injury was a fluke. He'll never do that again in his football career, possibly. It was just the way he landed, you know. And the winger who hurt his foot, yeah. Dan Burn.
Yeah.
Barnes.
Yeah.
Our Neil's, when he analysed what the Selly's injury was, it's the kind of injury you get once in a bloody lifetime, and our player has to get it. But it wasn't something that came from high press. Dan Burn was fouled. Chelsea bloke. Sorry, yeah, the bloke made a back for him. The Arsenal bloke made a back for him, and got away with it. So you can't legislate for things like that. But none of them, in my opinion, were related to the fact that we're playing a high press style game, and it shows when we're having a. I mean, one or two people say now they like to watch it. It's fantastic when you get to the last 20 minutes of a game. Most teams, you think, oh, we're in trouble now. I never think about that with Newcastle. I think the other side's in trouble the last 20 minutes because we're the ones that's going to be fit. So it works two ways, but in my opinion, the high press isn't the cause of the injuries.
Okay, high intensity, the high press game. We know all about it, Chippers. Would Eddie Howe contemplate changing it if he feels that was responsible for the injuries?
No, it's why we were so successful last season, because we pressed teams into submission and they couldn't live with it. So why change it? It just doesn't make any sense. It's a case of I enjoy watching it. It's refreshing because I was so sick of seeing Steve Bruce put 11 men behind the ball and just have one stony effort at goal all game and we'll do something with it. Whereas now we're dominating teams by high pressing and they're making mistakes, and you know it's the way to play football. For me, it's the right way about it. And for me, Eddie Howe only knows how to play one way, and he's come out and said he either wants to win games or lose them. He doesn't want in between. So for that reason, no, he's not going to change it.
Okay, we've got a couple of people back. Kevin missed out on the Ekitike conversation. So first question, Kevin, Ekitike, would you go for him on loan in January? Would you like to see him come in?
No, he didn't want to come in the summer, and it was an agent's ploy to get him into a bigger club. And so if that's the case, no, not for me.
And the high press game, if that was responsible for the injuries, do you think Eddie would change?
No, because again, that's the identity, and Chipper stole a little bit of my thunder in terms of playing on the front foot and dominating teams right from the off and overpowering teams as a press. You you know, you can do it as a head of your heart, essentially. Do you go all as one, or you just go, if you're going by yourself, well, you're going by yourself, you must win the ball, that type of idea. But for the most part, it's as a group. If what coaching term is called triggers. So if you see a trigger, then you go. Then if you see that trigger, then you go. It's all like collective, and then it's like a domino effect of that. Then everybody takes a position, and we'll have a solid shape and structure behind the first initial press, wherever that is on the field. We might sit in a low or mid to low block. It will engage them in the middle third or whatever. So it all depends on the game plan to the tactic of what Eddie Howe sets out. But if one goes and runs, you know, we call them doggies. If you do doggies and run around like a headless chicken, then guess what? You know, you're just running to run. You know, you're not a collective at that point. You're doing it just by yourself. Which is, look, if you want to go do that, fine. But no, I think the way that from a sports to the sports science side, and the way they've actually mentally drilled them, and physically, mentally. You know, it's football. You get injuries. You know, it's part of it. But again, the freak injuries that we've had are quite an anomaly and different. But you know, you got to move on. You have to find other ways holistically to win football matches. So I wouldn't change the way we played at all, because it's got us this far. So why would we change it now?
Spenny, the high press. What's your thoughts? Would he change it?
No, I wouldn't change it. There was rumours at the beginning of the season he was going to change it when Tonali got signed, that he was going to change the system there, and he never changed it. We win games because we play that way, and the players play that way. If we change the way we play, the team won't perform as well as they are now. So it's no good changing in mid-season or in November what way we play. That's how Newcastle play, and that's how all the fans like us to play as well, and the manager. High press, extraction football, passing brilliant. That's how we play. It's scoring goals this season, especially. So for me, it should stop the way it is.
Okay, Barry, how's the dog?
He's settled down. I forgot this. It's the huge celebration of lights on in Washington. So the fireworks lasted about 15, 20 minutes, but he was kind of nuts. Bless him.
All right.
Thank you for letting us back.
First of all, for you, Ekitike, would you take him on loan?
It's a hard one because he's exactly the type of player we're looking for. He's young, he's keen, he's definitely got ability, but I totally agree with what certainly quite a few of the guys have said. I think Kev said it as well about his attitude. He didn't want to come. He didn't want to be there. He used us to get the move to PSG, and that for me is enough to say no. He's not worth the risk. There will be other players who are better than him out there. I think he'll regret it. I think he'll not necessarily come to us, but I think he's not going to get a game at PSG, and he's going to be stuck there for quite a while by the looks of it. But no, Steve, I don't think we should go back from. I know Eddie's got this thing about long term sort of watching and going for people, but I don't think the kid's worth it long term. And as in respect to the high press, I think it's like Spenny says, that's where we play. You wouldn't ask the entertainers team not to attack. You know, that was what they did. Yes, they people always have a go at them defensively, even though the defense wasn't bad. But the ability we've got going forward is tremendous. I think we're struggling a little bit because we've got two strikers who were injured, which is the focal point of the way we play. But I think Eddie Howe's got us so fit, so much fitter than I've ever seen them, and their ability to last the full 90 minutes. I think we'll just get better and better. I do think we need a couple of reinforcements in. I think the injuries are ridiculous, but it's not down to the training. It's just it's sheer bad luck more than anything else. I mean, you mentioned it, Steve, about the Anderson injury. Goes to bed with a sore back and he misses for how many weeks? You know what I mean? It's like, how many times has that happened to a professional footballer who's training every day? It just doesn't happen. But we'll move on. We'll get better. We always do. And my good thing is it might encourage them to spend a bit of cash in January and bring a couple of players in. Whereas if everybody was fit, they might have left it till the summertime. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a couple of big signings in January.
Okay, the high press, Alan. It's something that we've grown to love with Eddie Howe. He's not going to change that, is he?
No, it's a full house for me. Like, it's fantastic to watch. sometimes when I see it in action, when they're playing really well, you just go, wow. And the reaction of the opposing players, every match, it tells its own story. We've been in such a hell of a game. Kevin expressed it great as a coach. You know, one goes, one stays, the formation, it's absolutely fantastic. And some of the football, when they do play, is some of the best I've ever seen Newcastle team play, actually. It's absolutely fantastic. And why stop? That's not something that's not broken. You know, why change something that's not broken?
Unless they're not playing Bournemouth.
Yeah. Well, there's another story. Don't go. Don't go.
Yeah, don't go there.
I think they call it out when we're rubbish. And that's all it was last week. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, we had four players, in my eyes, that were fresh as a daisy, and excuses were tiredness. Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't look for me. We're rubbish. But like I say, I've got a couple of apologies to make, lads. I did say Ben Johnson. We don't want another player banned. Sorry about that. And if I did say, we're shite, I meant we were shite on the day. So I do apologise. But we're a very, very good team. That's all I mean to say. And just like on the PSG,
on the PSG, we were tired though. We were tired. Like again, you could see in the legs were tired. It's a lot of the players. The different era. They've got so many fitnesses coach, sports science coach. They're travelling. They're playing 2 games a week. Our squad's not big enough. We're not Man City yet. Our squad's not big enough. We're down like long staff. You can see.
But at the same time, does he? You know. He's got no to apologise for. You just
I don't apologise.
Just when you have a team that's third bottom and won one game all season, lads.
Yeah. I know, but you can't. This season's going to be. We're going to lose a lot more games this year, and again.
Don't say that.
I hope I'm wrong, but it's going to be a hard season.
Negative, Darren Mines. You can't say that. You can't say we're going to lose.
Put this way, Alan, right? I know I called you a Malcolm, right? So I'm 50% sure you're not now.
On that bombshell, I think we'll have the ads.
A big thanks to all our sponsors. Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website skipsandbins.com. Easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's sauces. They are handmade in Cumbria. If you want to order some of these sauces, call 01768 210 102 or go to the website mrvickys.co.uk. Thanks again to United Group Travel. They are a UK coach holiday firm and they are based in Morpeth with pickups throughout the northeast. No strangers on our tours, just people you haven't met yet. They're on Facebook. They've also got a website, unitedgrouptravel.com, or give them a call, 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174 or 07957 141 654. Big thanks to Darren Baldwin Funerals. They're an independent funeral director based in Gateshead. You can find them at their website, darrenbaldwinfunerals.co.uk. Or give them a call, 0191 478 2730 or email Darren at darrenbaldwinfunerals.co.uk. Big thanks to Neil and the lads at Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things. And a big thank you to New Workwear. You can find them at newworkwear.com. If you want to help the channel, then please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button underneath today's video. Hit the thumb up, which helps you like the video, and please click share and share it to your other social media. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel, you could take out a one-off membership. You get a cup, a pen, a membership card, and a scarf. It's a £25 one-off fee, and you can go to nufcmatters.com and click membership, or put your smartphone over this QR code and it will take you straight there. We also help the food bank on this channel. If you want to help the food bank virtually from wherever you are in the world, click on nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk and it takes you to the match day bucket and you can make a donation no matter how big or small.
I'm also involved in the Northeast Footy Breakfast Show. You can find us on the nufctoontalk.com. I do Monday to Friday with Ted, the Sunderland fan, and Rye, the Borough fan, and Radio Dad Dave. Lots of fun, 7 till 9 every morning. Give us a listen. You'll not regret it. We also help support people in the area who are putting events on. An evening with Nobby Solano takes place on the 19th of January at the Tyneside Irish Club. And an evening with Peter Beardsley takes place at the Tyneside Irish Centre the week before, on January the 12th. Tickets for both events are available on Voucher and would make fantastic Christmas presents for anyone of a black and white persuasion. Okay, Alan McKenzie says, have any of you lads had a look at who Garassi of Stuttgart, 14 goals and 8 starts in the Bundesliga? Anybody looked at him? Again, not something I've looked at, no.
Yeah, he's sharp, yeah. I've seen a little bit, but not much.
Okay, well, there we go. I'm sure it's another name that'll get chucked into the mix over the course of the next few weeks when the transfer window opens again. And I'm sure Barry will be keeping a count on how many we've got in the mix. Coming up this weekend, though, Newcastle United take on Chelsea. It's a home game. It's a 3:00 kickoff on a Saturday, so no TV coverage this weekend. Following victories over Brentford, Burnley, Crystal Palace and Arsenal, Newcastle are bidding to make it 5 successive Premier League home wins and clean sheets. As I mentioned earlier, it is predicted Sean Longstaff will be missing, but there is good news as Bruno Guimaraes is available after serving his one-match ban. Miggy Almiron should feature after pulling out of international duty with Paraguay with a hamstring problem. He is reported fit for Newcastle, and Alexander Isak is forced to return as well. He has been training ahead of this game. The news is less positive on the other walking wounded, of course. Elliot Anderson, Harvey Barnes, Sven Botman, Dan Byrne, Javier Manquillo, Jacob Murphy, Matt Targett, Callum Wilson, and, of course, the suspended Sandro Tonali, all still out and giving Eddie Howe a major headache as he goes into a busy Christmas period and fixture. As for Chelsea, well, they're missing a few players as well. Trevor Chalobah, Ben Chilwell, Carney Chukwuemeka and Wesley Fofana. Romeo Lavia and Christopher Nkunku could possibly return, but they have got a few injuries as well themselves. Interesting game, this one. Big game for Newcastle. And they'll want to get back on track after that defeat in the last Premier League game against Bournemouth. So, big game this, Darren. It's an exciting game, Chelsea. I always look forward to Chelsea coming to town. I've got to be perfectly honest. But how much of a boost is it going to be having those players back for Newcastle at the weekend?
It's a big boost because having Isak back up front, you can play back going back on the left-hand side where it belongs, and Mickey's going to be fit. That's another good thing. And Bruno's back. It's a big boost for the team, really, doing a bit more confidence for the team. So we're going to give 110%. Hope we get a win, and it sets up for next week for PSG. You know what I mean? So I'm happy we're getting some players back, which need them back. So just me continue to get a few more back quicker rather than sooner. You know.
Ian, big names coming back. We knew Bruno would be back. I think there was a bit of scepticism amongst Newcastle fans. They felt he'd got his 5th book and timed it right because Newcastle needed him back for these games. But Alexander Isak's a big boost, isn't he?
Yeah, Isak being back's massive. It's the spine of the team back as well. When let's be honest, when Bruno doesn't play, we miss other players. I know we all recognise that that we miss Sean when he's not there for his work rate, but the key player for me anyway to keep the team ticking over is Bruno. Isak gives us a different dimension that we haven't got. We had when we've got no focal point up front, we struggle. So that's amazing. It's like the spine of the team's back. If we had Botman back, like that would be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it? But the defense hasn't actually been the problem for us. For me, it's been further forward, creating. So having Isak back, Bruno's obviously back in. Miggy back, it gives us they're three key players to us, and there's other players that we thought weren't going to be back that are potentially going to be back. From what I'm reading, who knows whether it's true or not, but maybe not back for this game, but in the next game or two. So yeah, I think this could be it could all work out quite well for us, because I've got a feeling that Chelsea are going to come in and think that they're just going to walk over us because of all the injuries and the people that we've got out. But the players we've got back are key players. And to be fair, the players that have stepped in, for me, haven't done a bad job. When you look at like Lewis Miley, 17-year-old kid, he's probably the best midfielder on the park for me in the last game when he played. He's young, and I know he shouldn't be chucked in there, but he can be relied on. If we need him, he can be relied on. So no, I'm confident. We'll have enough to get by him.
Okay, George, big players coming back this weekend.
Very important. Bruno's the key, isn't he? We all know that when he doesn't play, we don't win. It's as simple as that. That's the stat that matters for me. If he's not on the pitch, we don't win. So he's the big one. But I like Miggy as well. He's a non-stop, 100 miles an hour, no peace for the defence. And him and Gordon would be a handful even for Chelsea. So, that's important stuff for me. And Isak, well, we all know what a quality player he is. If he's fit and on form, then he's going to give Chelsea a hell of a lot of trouble, like he has other teams. So that's all very positive stuff. I mean, there are always pluses about some of these things, and that is that pluses for me. Some of the performances of the kids that have come in, both the young fullbacks, well, just incredible. Some of the stuff they're playing, and not just in a defensive sense, but also in an offensive sense. Because that goal that went in against Manchester United, the young fullback, as soon as he got the ball, you knew what he was going to do, straight for the penalty area. Well, Chelsea won't like that either, because they're not used to that. So, no, I'm content that we're in with a better than a shout for this game against Chelsea, and home advantage will matter. So I'm looking forward to a good game, but a very positive game for Newcastle United.
Chippers?
Yeah, I think we can get them. I think having Isak back is a vocal point up front. We've got enough players up front there, like Gordon, Isak, Miggy, all able to press them into making mistakes. I know Thiago Silva's still a world-class centre-half, but he's nearly 40. I mean, Isak should be skinning him no matter how fit he is, in my opinion, because he's got no pace about him. They have improved, you can see that, but they're still conceding goals for fun. So, to me, they're still looking lopsided defensively. We can get them. It's at St James's. Will they fancy it? We don't know. How many of their players are in international duty and how many go come back injured and fit? We don't know. I just hope Argentina didn't take Bruno out on Wednesday night, to be honest, because while in Argentina, Brazil could be a bit of a dirty game. That'll be my worry if he plays.
I was going to say, is he not on his way home?
I think Bruno's come back.
Is he not? Is he? Was he not playing for them? Is he not?
I think he's dropped out the squad from.
I think what's happened is Trips and Bruno have been asked to come back, and that's what it looks like. I'm not belittling whether there is an issue with Trips, personal issue or anything, but I'm sure I read before that they're both coming back.
Yeah.
And they both played the full game, didn't they? The first game, they both played the full game.
So I think we can get Chelsea. Like, I mean, I've got now to be worried about. I know, like I've said, that
Lewis won't can't play against Sunny, can he?
No.
It'll be Tino and Trippier, won't it?
Yeah.
Would you put Livy on? Would you put Tino on the left?
Or play Trips on the left, Tino on the right?
Yeah, Trips on the left, I would have thought.
That's what I would say.
What do you think, Kev? Steve's
Yeah, I'm back. I am back. My internet's horrendous tonight. Kev, go on. If I do dodge off, Barry, feel free to take over and do exactly what you've just done there.
Well, it's interesting. I've just looked at some stats real quick, and I mean, they've conceded 10 goals in the last 4 games. Have lost 1, and all the rest of it. So the free flowing football in terms of scoring goals at the minute, but again, they can't keep it out at the other end. What was it? Drawn 1 against Arsenal and Man City. So they've got something about them. It just depends what Chelsea side shows up. Early part of the season, they couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo type of thing. They just couldn't score. So now they're kind of finding their feet with Pochettino, who's a world-class coach, as we pretty much all know. Obviously, the circumstances, the players that he's brought in, and trying to find the right mold, what they've had to deal with and what he's had to deal with. But again, like we've said in the first part of it, in terms of how we want to play with the players coming back, if we get on the front foot, if we play the way we want to play, especially at home, then I think they might struggle in terms of coping with that. But it's all, again, I've said this on multiple occasions, of our mindset going in. If we have a mindset going in of let's go and put them to the sword and win, well, go and do it then. I think we can. I don't think Chelsea will cope with the situation, the scenarios, the moments in the game that really matter. I watched the game here in Atlanta, and they looked head and shoulders above us. But at the same time, it's a pre-season friendly, so you can't really take much from that. But if we put the world right again and respond against the result against Bournemouth, against the big game against Chelsea, then going into the PSG game and really lay another marker and say, okay, well, we'll just not forget about it, but respond in terms of against Chelsea, again, big game, then go to PSG and put a little run together. Why not? Why can't we beat them? Why can't we go and beat them 3-4? I mean, defensively, I could do a little analysis and have a look and see and give a more detailed thing of how they go about things and whatever. But again, I genuinely believe that there's going to be a huge response based on, yes, Trips is coming home, and from what we said, Bruno, and Isaac back, what we said. I think again, it's all about mentality. It's all about the mental approach. If we hit the ground running, I think they will be a deer in headlights, as a phrase, to where they'll not be able to cope. And if we do that, I think we'll be quite comfortable winners at the end of the day.
Okay, Spenny, looking forward to the game and the players coming back in. Oh, yeah, you're muted, Spenny.
Right, sorry. I'm looking forward to Ziggs coming back and the other ones. I'm more worried about Longstaff being missing for myself. That balance in midfield with Bruno, for me, I think it's going to be a worry because we haven't got Tonali now either. We're going to be able to cope with Bruno. You what?
Is Longy definitely out?
So Steve's has said.
Well, we don't know yet, but it's not looking promising. That's what the press are saying. We don't know 100% yet. We'll find out. We'll find out nothing on Friday from Eddie, so we'll just have to wait until we turn up on Saturday to find out.
Oh, why? Okay, mate. I was getting a bit worried there.
But they're saying the press are saying that it's highly unlikely that he's going to be available this weekend.
Right. Okay. Like I said, I think we'll like Kev said there, I think we will. The game might be won in the first 15 minutes because I've watched Chelsea and they play similar to us, very high press and all that, and they're trying to counter-attack too much as well. For me, Sterling's a danger for Chelsea. He's on fire these last few games, and he's trying to put a point to prove that Southgate as well. He was not picking him for the England team. But it will be a tough game, but I'm hoping for a win because it gives us a bit of advantage for the cup game as well, which is in a week after that. So it gives us a bit of an edge for that as well.
Okay, Barry.
I think it's. Obviously the looking. It's going to be tough. It's a game at home, so it gives us the advantage with the fans and everything else. I think as well, well, I've been reading through obviously the stories this week. It's looking like Shaw's going to be fit for the game, which is a huge plus for me because obviously there was concerns about him. Joe Linton's getting fitter every game he plays, so he's improving as he goes along. Like the guys have said, Bruno makes such a huge difference to the team. I'm interested to, bless him, I don't know if I've missed it, but we're mentioning there's no left back available. So what's happened to Dummett? Does he not get counted anymore, Steve? Is he not classed as a left back? Because he's still a fairly decent player and he had a decent game as a centre half.
But then, Barry, I'll play Dummett before the sales. There you go.
Yeah. I just think with Livramento, I wouldn't necessarily tie him and Trippier down to one position because I love the fact that Tino comes on and he runs at them and he scares the crap out of people when he comes on.
I'm not a Dummett fan, like. I'm not a Paul Dummett fan.
Really? I think
he's not for me.
Every game you get 7 out of 10 off Dummett. Never had a bad game.
I was going to say,
I think get 3 or 4 out of 10 of Dummett. I'm not a Dummett fan.
I think he's a solid player.
Last game he played was tremendous, Dummett.
I think Chelsea are good going forward, like the guys have said defensively. That if we, I think we can get at them. I'm concerned with Isaac going straight in because I would hate to think he takes another knock, but that's the way we're having to play it at the minute because obviously Wilson's going to be out for quite a while. So just fingers crossed. For me, this is the more important. I'm going to dread saying this, but this is the more important game than the PSG one that I want to see them pick up 3 points against Chelsea. And PSG just enjoy the experience. So I would go all out for the game at the weekend.
I forgot to mention as well, Steve. There might be surprise bet someone on the bench as well. Surprise me.
I've got a feeling Harvey Barnes could be closer to fitness than Eddie Howe's letting on.
I'll tell you, it's maybe Botman.
Well, that would be great. I mean, we just don't want to rush players back because Christmas is a busy period. And as everybody knows on the channel, my main focus would be the Carabao Cup, getting back to the final of that, winning it and getting into Europe that way. That would be my preferred option and continuing to build in the league. Trying to finish 4th or 5th this season, that would be a major achievement and would really buck the trend of teams that have qualified for Europe because normally you qualify for Europe, you finish 7th, 8th, or outside of the European places. But if we could get back to that cup final, win our first bit of silverware, and then essentially, qualify for Europe that way and finish as high up the league as possible, that would be a major success for me. But just my opinion. I know a lot of people would love to continue in the Europa and win that, etc. But I just think we need to walk before we can run. We're ahead of schedule by at least 2 years, as everybody's more or less admitted. Alan, Chelsea at home this coming Saturday, 3:00 kickoff, man. It's a rarity. But, we've had that break, players back, and it's a tough game. It's a tough game, Alan. There's no doubt about it. This isn't an easy one. I don't think anybody said it is. But for me personally, it's an exciting one.
Oh, it always is, Steve. It's always tight games with Chelsea, home or away. I do believe it'll be interesting to see if he plays Lewis Miley in a game like this, or will he put Ben Parkinson up front and bring Isaac on in the second half, like you say. It'll be very interesting what he does. It's going to be, like I say, a very tough. I think the key for me is obviously going to be the midfield. And nobody's mentioned Willock. I think he's going to be a key factor in this game, Willock, with his energy.
Well, last year, did he score last year?
I do. I think it's going to be the midfield that will decide this game, lads. Chelsea have got momentum. We're on a downer, as you know, on the last game. But home advantage does count. But I'm spot on with you, Steve. Every word you said before is what I'm thinking. We've got to go all out for the Carabao Cup. And don't forget, the Carabao Cup's played in February and you've got 3 months to go. If we win a trophy, that'll be the highlight of my life, lads. Is that overachievement? I don't know. Or am I being too positive? I don't know. But that's how I look at it at the minute. And we've got to go all out on Saturday because the next 8 games won't make we be top 4, but certainly decide whether we are going to challenge for top 4. Because when you get on the other podcasts, not one of them. I mentioned Newcastle now in the top 4.
Well, that's good.
I want it to prove them wrong, Steve. I'm desperate for it to be in top 4 and win a
I don't know if it'll be top 4, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if qualified top 4 this season. Like,
that's good though. That's good though. People writing them off, and you know, when Newcastle get written off, that's when they play their best football. To be perfectly honest, you know, they tend to do well when people have written them off. That's that us against them mentality that Eddie's talked about in the past. So yeah, good stuff. As always, good debate on the fans forum. Let's get a prediction. Let's get a prediction for this weekend's game.
What's that thing around Kev's neck?
It's his medal. Go on, Kev. Give us a shout about the medal. Tell us what happened this weekend.
Being on the 3 Amigos?
It's not for dog walking, Spenny, anyway.
No, no, it's not for Crufts. I would have got goal for that. No, my under-8s, my 7-year-olds and a couple of 6-year-olds played 3, won 3, scored nearly 18 goals to get to a final. Conceded like 3. And then, unfortunately, we just fell short. Typical Newcastle United story. But we come up against a very good side from the same club that I work for. So it was one of the decent medals going home with the club that we work for. So it was a good day all the way around, but a good weekend. But yeah, we finished 2nd place 3 months ago. They couldn't even they couldn't even control a ball or pass a ball. They couldn't even run around. They didn't know how, you know, like fish out of water type of thing. But now, for the first time ever in their little young careers so far, they made a final and we got there. We made the big dance, and we didn't pull, but we got to the big dance. You know, we were so close, but yet so far. We scored an own goal. Everything what would go against you went against us in this game. You know, we had every opportunity to win it or do whatever, but unfortunately we got beat 5-1 in the final. But a big shout out to because I promote this show within the club that I work for, and people listen. So big shout out, and we had a very successful weekend as a club against a rival club, and we took home a lot of trophies, medals, whatever you want to call it. So a big shout out to them, and they worked hard across the year. And I'm almost like you, Steve and Barry, and George, with no bloody hair with them because they're only 7. But at the same time, we play football. We play football the right way, and that's what I pass on to them. So yeah, I got one of these ones for the, you know, wrong colour, but hey, at least we got there, you know. So big shout out to them.
Well done, mate. Well done. You put a lot of time and effort into that. Well done, son.
Cheers, lads. I appreciate it.
Okay. Predictions, Darren, for Chelsea.
I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win instead of PSG. Because I'm going next. I'm going to match next Wednesday. So next Tuesday, sorry. So 2-1 win next. And then settle for PSG.
All right, good stuff. Ian, prediction, mate?
I'm going to come back with I'm going to go for a Penman for a 3-1. I think we generally, when we've had a few poorer results, let's put it that way, we had a little break. We'll come back fighting, and I think we've got the core of the hopefully anyway, the core of the team back. And I think at our place we'll smash them. I think we'll do them 3-1.
Okay, George.
2-0 to Newcastle United with Miggy and Isak scoring the goals.
Shabazz.
2-1 win. I don't care who scores as long as we win. Don't care. It could be anybody. 2-1 goals will do me. I don't care. We'll win 2-1.
Kev.
The rate that Chelsea are scoring and the response that we need, 3-2 us.
3-2. Okay. Spenny.
Well, I always do a curveball, don't I?
Yeah.
Curveball.
It's not like you, Spenny.
I'm going to go with a very entertaining game, better than the last game Chelsea played in, and going for a 5-4 win for Newcastle.
5-4.
Wow.
God. Right, okay.
I hope so. That would be good.
Nine
What's the odds on that, Spenny?
9 goals for Barry's biting his nails. The game's 5 days away. Go on, Barry. Prediction.
I'm going to go with Darren. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
2-1 win. Okay, Alan, busy writing them all down now and having a look. And
yeah, I'm writing them all down to keep the record. I'm going for a massive positive draw, 1-0. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you are all right, lads.
Now I'm down to 25% now, Alan.
15%. 15%.
I'm all down to Christmas and see who's right and who's wrong.
Alan, you just burst the bubble there, mate. I'm sorry, you just burst that bubble.
I'm not on.
Please, you're not disappointed anymore.
Right, I'm all down.
Steve, what else?
Before we go, can I say to my little friend, the Darth Vader, I hope you're okay, mate.
Yeah.
You're all here for you. I'll try to ring you the day, but you never answered. But keep going, mate. You can do it.
Yeah, I love it.
Give him a call, Vince.
I've given him my ticket. I've given him my ticket for the game on Saturday, so that's cheered him up. He's going to watch Newcastle play Chelsea on Saturday. So
I'll see him at the food bank then.
I'll see him at the food bank as well if you're around, Vinny. And can
I enjoy the games? It's going to be 5-4.
Spenny, I see you inside the game. Not bad. I see you in the other thing.
All right.
Hey, if you want some extra views, what you should do, Steve, is show the private chat behind here.
No, I don't want it.
We'll get banned off YouTube.
Yeah, I was just going to say they'll ban you.
That's the fans forum tonight. I'm back tomorrow night, Tuesday night with Melly with a Premier League show. Wednesday night, Ben Jacobs. I've pre-recorded that. It's a cracking show. Some great questions. Thursday night is Super Matt and Gibbo, and Friday night is the Amigos. But for now, thanks to Chippers, to George, to Ian, to Darren, to Kevin, to Spenny, to Barry, and to Alan. Take care. See you later,
everybody.
Good
Nice one, lads.